But before in Germany, I've been in Stuttgart, Hertha Berlin, and Düsseldorf. And then here in the States, I've been with El Paso, Miami, and now Tulsa. Like you said before, goals are probably the most important thing for a striker. But because there are so many different types of strikers. There is the guy that's very fast. There is a guy that's very technical, who can provide goals and assists, or just assists, or just goals. Or there's the tall striker. I feel like it's hard. It's a position where you can have so many or just a few strength and things you're good at. But at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most is scoring goals. I mean, you see the top strikers in the world, they all score goals. And I feel like if you don't do that, you can be as good as you want to off the ball or on the ball. Bottom line, you need to score for your team. Every time there's a new situation, I'm just trying to think, okay, just beat this guy or just score this one. And sometimes it works and sometimes not. As a striker, you have to have that's what some good strikers in Germany told me as well. You have to have a short memory. So every time you have something, you did something good or you did something bad, you have to forget it within a minute. Because if you think you did something good, then you start to not focus as much as you did before. And if you did something bad, then sometimes it's stuck in your head and you think, and your confidence not there. So what I'm trying to do is just composure-wise, just there will always be another situation, and there was always a situation that was before, but that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the next situation. And but in my mind, it's just try to beat a guy or just try to get a hold of something or a foot in or something so we can score. With the national team, it was different. Not different, but you don't play as many games with the national team as you do with your club team. So it's always you're always not, I would say, a little more focused, but it's a little different. You don't have the same players, you don't have the same environment. So you put on your jersey, and I think you have to be focused once you're in your national jersey. But other than that, I usually just do it what other players do. I'll just listen to music and just try to go through some situations in my head that I think could work or that I did well in the past. And that helps me. It was a first-year club, and the expectations were great. The city is amazing, but just like everyone else, the pandemic hit, and we dipped a little bit. It was like we were ready to have our first home opener. Everything was ready. We were prepared. And then all of a sudden, 1 day or 2 days before we should play the game and against LA Galaxy, everything was called off. And we're like, oh, no, that can't be real. And we thought, okay, this would just take a couple of weeks. But then it was longer and longer and longer. We didn't know, like, the future was so uncertain that we didn't know what's going on, if we would still play. And if we just had to keep in kind of like a good condition, good shape. So whenever we get back, whenever there is something, that we're ready. But it was just not the perfect situation. But everybody had to deal with it, and that's no excuse. But the situation itself, I think, would be a little bit different if we would have our fans back then and or get all the momentum we had. And then we played this tournament in Orlando, and the season just rolled out. It's a good thing. I mean, sometimes it depends. I would put it like this. So when I came to El Paso, I had a good year and I had the chance to get to a higher league, to the MLS. And I feel like sometimes you have to just try your luck, and that's how I wanted to do it. I could always stay in like the safe zone, I call it, and just stay with one team and never really not advance, but be in a safe spot where I say, okay, this is my team. I'm here. I'm familiar with the environment and everything, but I'm a guy. If I have an opportunity or so, that I want to try it. But I mean, in the El Paso situation or different situation, And if it works out, great. Miami didn't work out as I wanted to, but I can say I tried it. And at the end of the day, that's all. Well, that's what I care about. Also, from a striker friend of mine who played with the Serbian national team. No, Bosnia Herzegovina. He plays with that national team, and he always said soccer always keeps going. So whatever happens, if you have a good season, if you have a bad season, if you're injured, it will always go on. So don't stress out too much. Just work hard, and for sure, life and especially soccer always goes on. Most impactful, I would say probably Huub Stevens. I haven't had him for a long time, but I made my Bundesliga debut under him. Also, Andy Herzog, 100%. He was my national team coach for the U23s. Great guy, great character, great coach. Nothing bad I can say about him. Jurgen Klinsmann, also great coach. I mean, I don't have necessarily just one coach. I think throughout your whole career, you have coaches that like you or not like you, but they say, "Hey, I count on you," and they try to develop, or they see a good person or a good player, more so a good player in you, and they want to bring you to your full potential. And yeah, that's just something I love, and that's just great to have. So for me, I would say that there was more coaches. The way they approached me, the way they gave me confidence, the way they knew my strength and how to use it. Yeah, that just builds confidence. And from there on, you always play better. If you have confidence, you always play better. It doesn't matter. That's why I think a coach, let's say they change a coach, so many times it happens in the top Champions League or top five leagues where you have players, you'll be like, oh, they didn't play the last season or didn't play the last games. And then new coach comes in, counts on him, and you think, oh, why did he never play? Oh, what's wrong? Because the coach gives you your confidence back, and then you're a completely different player. Oh, sometimes completely a different player just because somebody's counting on you. I learned he's a great motivator, a great guy off the field as well as on the field. He even called me like, I don't know, I would say 2 or 3 months ago. And it just shows his character too. I mean, he couldn't care less. He's, I think, well off in Los Angeles or so, and he still cares about people he coached. Or I mean, I personally I can't say anything bad about him, and I think he's a great guy from what I've learned and from what I've experienced. And yeah, he's the German legend, and yeah, it was an honor to play for him. I actually was training in a team in Germany to keep in shape, and his son was the goalkeeper. And but by the time I left, he was still there, and I think he went to Switzerland, and now he's in LA back again. I wish him all the best, and I hope the family legacy continues. Yeah, I've had a couple here and there. It's just most of the time when you're not playing and you don't, like I said, have the confidence, then it's hard to approach the coach to ask for advice. I mean, that's just me. And if everything is easier if you play or if you have the confidence. And sometimes you feel like you've been left on the side, and it's a hard process to work through that. But that's also a part of the game. I mean, no career other than probably, I don't know, Messi and Ronaldo's. They've been always playing, but I think every other player had difficulties throughout their whole career, and even the top guys have it. But yeah, you just have to fight through those and come back stronger. I would say, like I said before, you have to keep on working. I mean, if you let your head down, that's exactly what people who doubt you want you to do. And I learned, I mean, when I was young, you have to I had to learn it too when I was younger. I thought everything was personal. The coach didn't like me when I was younger, and everything else. Not I blamed everything else, but I thought they're like I said before, the coach didn't like me, this and that reason. I thought I took it personal. And but you have to fight through it, and you have to put and do an extra step just to prove that wrong. And that's what I did, or what I learned is if somebody doubts you, especially a coach or teammates or whatever, then you have to show them extra, that you're not this guy, and you're not what they think. And yeah, you just have to go the other direction than they expect you to do. They expect you to fold, and you have to work hard, and hard work will always pay off. And that's what I learned a little bit in my career. Whenever somebody doubts you, you should always listen to your coach and friends or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else will. And I think that's the most important key factor. Even if you're on the bench for a couple games, or if you miss games or don't score or whatever, you always have to say there will be sunshine after the rain. And yeah, I think that's just the way to go. Yeah, I mean, when I was in the youth academy system with Hertha, I can name you 50 players that were 100% more talented than me, which I thought will have better careers or like achieve more. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's not the right fit with the club. And then you go down, you go from the, I don't know, second to third division, from third to fourth. It's hard. I mean, I've been through the process too, but you just have to keep fighting. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, talent isn't always with your feet or with your skills. It's also how you approach the game mentally. And there were other players where I thought they're not there, they won't make it, and then I don't know, they end up being at Chelsea, they end up being at like great clubs. When everybody doubted them, like I have an example, for example, is Antonio Ruediger. I don't know, I don't know, I didn't watch the game today, if he played or what, but they always said, yeah, he could just kick players, and he's not technical skilled enough, and this and that. But at the end of the day, he's the one that made it to Chelsea, and there's nothing you can say about it. There, you just have to tip your head and say, look, he proved so many people wrong, and I can say because of playing with him, talented wise, I can name you in my squad probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 easily players that were better than him, but he had the best career. I don't know. I think maybe Carlo Ancelotti. Maybe you'll probably think why, but I just love the way he behaves, and I just love the way I think he's a very good human being. Not I don't coach probably good. I mean, he has to be a good coach, otherwise he wouldn't have all those great clubs. But I think he could be he is a very great human being, and I would love to train under him. Everybody else would say Pep Guardiola or this and that, but or Jurgen Klopp. But I don't know. Sometimes I heard rumors that they're not as great as they pretend to be off the pitch. I don't know, and I just thought Carlo Ancelotti seems to me, just the way if I watch a game or whatever, or hear an interview, yeah, I just think he seems like a cool guy. Also Mourinho, but if I was under Mourinho, probably I would. I think under Mourinho, it's either way. Either you're his son or you're fighting against him. And if you're on the good side for Mourinho, I think he would kill for you. But if you're on the other side, then you could easily be not training with the team, and I don't know, probably end up playing with the U21s or whatever it is. He's very intimidating, and yeah, he has some great players, and he made some great players. But on the other side also, it's like he has some great players where you think, oh, he's not playing, oh, he's not even on the bench, and he's just ruthless. No, I don't. I think to me also my approach that what Jurgen Klinsmann gave me, he always said everybody cooks with water. It's a German saying that like everybody's the same. Even Messi started somehow, and by training hard, he just or Cristiano Ronaldo or whoever it is, by training hard, they end up being these great players. And we doesn't matter if you find them in, I don't know, Brazil, Argentina. I mean, everywhere they play soccer, and I guarantee almost every country has a great player you know of. And I think just tactically, I think German coaches or German soccer is very tactical, and we did that a lot in training also. And here we do it too, but in Germany, I felt like it was, I don't know, almost every day there was a little bit of tactics involved and watching. And if you don't do your job right, then everybody will hear, everybody on the pitch will hear that you messed up. That's a German culture thing. Also, yeah, also like the way we treat each other, I would say. Rough environment where you cuss and yell at each other all the time. And whenever I had players training in Germany or whenever I had foreigners asking, it was always from America, because like here we're all friends and we're all not all friends. We're all kind of friends, yeah. But the environment is more friendly, more, I would say, comfortable. But that fits me too. But I just grew up like yelling at my teammates so bad that you would think, hey, this is no way they could be friends, or this is no way they could be on the team. But that was just a normal thing for us. But whenever I came to the States or so, I felt like, oh, this is a different way. I mean, he's your own teammate and you're on the same team. So it was kind of funny sometimes when we completely ranted and go after each other, and then after the training, it was all good. I mean, the MLS has its quality for sure. I mean, they acquired some great players over the last decade. And yeah, I just think everything is a little bit faster, a little just a league difference. A little bit faster, but also I think in the Open Cup or whenever the USL teams had chances to play MLS teams, they're all, not always, but some of them end up really good. And I think I don't know, the top USL team would have a chance to play in the MLS, and I don't know how if they would do good or bad, because that's always the question. How would an MLS team do in Europe? I mean, it's to me, it's you would have to try to see the results. Everything else is just fictional. And but I think some of the USL teams, they have the quality. I mean, in preseason you saw, to beat MLS teams. Preseason obviously is not the same than a regular season, but some teams I would give a chance to stay in the league, quote unquote. I think they're doing a great job right now, because I thought they took a lot of focus on young players, developing them, finding them in Europe. I mean, we're a big country with 300 plus million people. To find 11 players shouldn't be that hard with the resources and everything we have. But I think now we're doing a very good job of finding players abroad in Europe, or letting players try their to compete in Europe and let them leave the MLS just to move on. I mean, you saw with Weston, you saw with Christian. Yeah, all those players, they made their way to the youth system, or whatever it was in Europe, and they got better and better, because the tempo and everything is a little bit more competitive. And yeah, I think that's a great job. And for the U.S. soccer women's national team, what can I say? They just kill everybody and win every game. But also, what I noticed here in the U.S. is almost everywhere I went to, there was always a women's team. Women's soccer is very big here, and I think that's what, for example, in Germany, I couldn't name any women's. I mean, club teams. There's not so many girls I've seen practicing, or like on our facilities, or just in general. It just not has a bad reputation, but it always has this quote on, like, it's a man's sport and women shouldn't play soccer. It's only I'm talking about Germany. It's always the man should play, and I didn't see as many girls playing it like I do here. If I go in the park, then I always see girls play, and I think it's great. I love it. I have a daughter too, and she likes playing soccer too, and if she wants to go for it, why not? But I just love that so many girls here play soccer. But they also, I think, they also have their role models, their players they look up to and think, oh, they did a great job of promoting, I don't know, players like Alex Morgan or whatever it is, to say, oh, I want to be exactly like her. And then young girls, they have role models and they just try to go after them. And that's why I think so many girls also play soccer. That stuff is a lot more mental than you think. That's probably a misconception because most of the times people say, you guys just train 2 hours a day and make. I mean, here it's different, but I'm talking about Germany. They would say, oh, you guys just train 2 hours a day and make so much money. It's ridiculous. You should doctors should make more. This and that. Those people should make more. The misconception I think is that you always say that, yeah, they make so much money and this and that. I think it's a wrong statement, because the market just handles itself. And also there's so many players trying to become professional, and there's just a few players that make it. And you can't say, yeah, that you make so much money because this and that. It's just a couple of players that go through the system. I can name you, I don't know, hundreds of players that don't make it and end up putting so much work in, so much time, so much training, and end up being working, I don't know, at a store or whatever it is. And yeah, it's a hard business, and it's not. I think you should get rewarded if you make it. I think also that the level of jealousy here is completely different, because here I feel like people like, for example, if you have a nice car, people like if you do good. I don't know. It's just a like I said, it's just a cultural thing. But in Germany, for example, it's always a bad sign if you have a nice car. It's always a bad sign if you have fancy clothes. You shouldn't show off. It's just a cultural thing. Yeah, and then just people are, I don't know, unhappy with their life or whatever that it is. And they say they always blame every problem on the world, the pandemic. It was soccer players making too much money. It was always something about the players, and I don't also think it's fair to put doctors and everything else into perspective or into an argument, because of course doctors make less than soccer players. But I mean, they say, yeah, the club doesn't say, okay, I want to sign the player for, or pay a transfer fee for 60, 70, 80 million just because I like the players. They see value in this player and they want to sell him for 100 million, for 120 million. And that's, I think, what people don't understand. They always see the numbers. I mean, if you read them, then of course nobody's worth 100 million. I mean, no doctor, no person in the world is worth 100 million. But the club is a company and a corporation or whatever, and they hope that they buy something, that buy a valuable product at the end of the day, what they can make money off by selling tickets, selling merchandise, selling whatever, and then selling it more, for more. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And once they see these crazy amount of numbers, they always say, "Hey, nobody's worth 100 million. Nobody's worth making 10 million just scoring goals or whatever that is." A doctor should make that. Yes, of course, a doctor should make that. But the people, I don't know anyone that says, oh, I'm going on the weekend to watch a doctor perform a surgery. I mean, people go into games and watch games and pay and do all this stuff, and they create revenue. And yeah, I just think that's a part what people don't understand sometimes. And it can also end soon. Like, I don't know, a doctor can end his profession soon too, but it's a short amount of years that you have, maybe 10, 15. If you're lucky, you have maybe, I don't know, if you're a great player, you maybe have 20 years. But it's also a short life. I mean, some players are done after 4 years, or I mean, it can go fast where you say, oh, I don't have a job, and I mean, they found somebody else, and then you just have to find your spot or your next profession. And that's also a part where people don't understand. People think, okay, once you sign your first pro deal, you're in the league for 20 years. No, that's not the case. Sometimes it's two, sometimes three. If you don't do anything good, it's always, what did you do last year for me? And yeah, I think that's another part what people don't understand too. because they only see the players that play feels like forever and play every weekend. But there's also a high percentage of players that don't play and are without jobs next year. I knew coming into this business that will always be ups and downs, and I just try to enjoy and thrive and yeah, and because at the end of the day, it's my profession, it's what I love to do, and I mean, everybody wants to play at Real Madrid or Barcelona or whatever, but like I said, it's just you have to be really, really fortunate, really lucky too, and a great player too to even make it there. It's just a small percentage, and you dream for that. Of course, my dream was always to play for Arsenal because I was a big Thierry Henry fan. But that doesn't mean my career is a disappointment. It's just you start dreaming somewhere as a kid, and yeah, you just going with the flow, I guess. I mean, I think also it's just to me the experience is mostly more worth than other parts. I mean, I got relegated once with Stuttgart. I got promoted once with Düsseldorf, and I never thought I would get relegated with Stuttgart because we had a good team, and I never thought we'd get promoted with Düsseldorf. But I was just there, and I thought, this is just. I think it's a good place to be in, and yeah, at the end, you never know. With Tony, I keep in touch. Tony Ruediger, Antonio Ruediger, as they call him. But with Timo, not so much. I was closer with Tony. Also the other guy I'm friends with is John Brooks, really good friends. We've known each other since we were kids. We talk almost every day, and yeah. The other guys, those I would say are the biggest, closest friends to me. I would say, like not Tony's my closest friend, but we've been through some things together. But the rest of my friends, you don't know them. They play basketball or do some other stuff. Tony, very wild guy, I would say. Also very competitive, but very wild, very crazy. Yeah, just funny characters. Big mistake, like I said, I would say a bigger mistake of my career earlier on was I took things too personal. Every time I wasn't playing or every time something bad happened to me, I thought it was something against me. But during the course of my career, I learned that it's just a coach trying to keep his job. He's trying to put the best team on his field. I don't think any coach believes. I mean, there are some coaches that have their favorite players because they think this player is good. I don't think they just have a favorite player because they think, oh, this player is bad, but I just like his personality. I think at the end of the day, everybody cares about keeping their job or getting even a better job. And yeah, that was what I would say my mistake earlier on, that I took things too personal instead of just seeing it more professional and be like, hey, coach thinks I'm not good enough, but I'll prove him next week. That's, I would say, my biggest mistake early on. But I also think that's a part of the process. You have to learn it. I mean, I guess people that are younger maybe because I went through it when I was younger, and it's good that I learned it younger than sooner than later. But yeah, I think just people go through those times, and I'm just happy I made it through. And yeah, at the end of the day, the coach I hated the most became the coach that supported me, and I was like, look, he was just and in his eyes, I was just not good enough of a player, and I completely changed his mind. And I that's when I learned nothing in this game is, I think, personal. It's just people trying to keep their jobs or stay or getting even better jobs. And satisfied in our business, you can never be satisfied. There's always something you want to achieve. For example, this year with Tulsa, we want to win the championship. or I don't know. It's just you always have your dreams or your goals at the beginning of the season or during the course of the season. And yeah, for example, for me, this year is to win the USL championship. Last year was to win the MLS league. Yeah, just stuff like this. But the one thing I'm really sad that I missed was the Olympic Games, the Olympic qualifiers, where we lost. And we just had to get one more win, and we couldn't get it done. And I didn't go to Rio, and that was one of my biggest dreams. That's how it is sometimes. You can't have everything. In Germany, when I was playing, I did some financial advising, and I really got into that. I like numbers, and yeah, I just I don't know. It came. My mom works in a bank, so I don't know. I never had a. I was always asking her, well, why did you like it? It's just numbers. It's nothing. No, nothing really approached me. It didn't sound fancy, but once I really started into advising, and I really enjoyed it. I had a good group, some friends of mine. They also played soccer, and then they started this company, and they got me into this in Germany, and I enjoyed it. But I think also that a huge part for me was that it was my friends doing it, and that I have a great environment, which was kind of fun. I also think I mean, since I like numbers, I also thought about being an agent or coaching, but yeah, I hope I've thought about coaching as well, but I think I want to settle down sooner or later, because coaching is also a lot of moving, a lot of it's just basically the same lifestyle I've been having just for another 30 years or so. But I don't know. I'll see what my opportunities are. I like real estate, so I did some real estate lessons. I just like a ton of things, and I think I'm just a guy who talks to people. And if somebody just approaches me one day and says, "I think you're good at that," I would just try it and see where it heads me. Um, but yeah, I just need somebody to convince me to do something into an idea, and then if I'm all in, I can do a lot of things, I think.